Hello and welcome to another episode of Mission Delhi 2010. I'm Sanjiv Kassal, and as the world is waiting, India is gearing up to host the Commonwealth Games in a few months from now. It promises to be the greatest sporting event this country has ever had, even surpassing the 1982 Asian Games. Over the last few weeks, we've been bringing you segments of different sports, but today we have someone with us who is India's most budding tennis player, the hope and future of Indian tennis, Yuki Bhambri. And as we all know, behind every great sports person, there's either a coach, a parent, or a mentor. Well, there's someone who has been running a very successful junior development program in India and who has recently merged with none other than the legendary double specialist Mahesh Bhupati to form the Mahesh Bhupati Tennis Academy. Well, it's called the Tennis Academy Team Tennis. Aditya Sachdeva. Aditya, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yuki, let's begin with you. Tell me, in a country that's so crazy about a sport like cricket, what got you to pick up a tennis racket?
Yeah, the first thing I started was with cricket as well, and I still play it every time I'm back home. I'm always calling up friends and saying, let's have a game of cricket. I think what prompted me to choose tennis was that I have two elder sisters who still play, and my parents, every time they used to go out for tournaments, I used to travel with them and I used to watch them play, and every time they used to get one of those trophies back home, and we used to have sort of a celebration, so I always enjoyed those, and that's what really started me, that's what really motivated me to get into tennis.
What was your first tournament like? Tell us a little bit about your first win, the first tournament.
Well, the first one I played was an under-8 in Delhi.
Right.
And I think I lost finals of that, and the first tournament I played at, I remember I still remember it, the first one I played outside Delhi was in Calcutta when I was 11, and I'd gone with my dad there, and it was an under 14 tournament, and I qualified for it and made the semi-finals. Beat some good high-ranked Indian national level players at that time. And that's when my parents really decided that I should move on and should try it, and that's from there.
That's when you made a switch from, let's say, from cricket to tennis. You figured that tennis is it.
Tennis is it. That's what I want to do.
Okay, Aditya, but tell us, look, like one of the things about a talented coach is to find talent. Now, what is the defining moment for you when you saw this kid running around, pounding forehands and backhands, and you said, listen, this is the future, this is the guy I want, this is the fellow who I'm going to nurture and I'm going to make him a future champion?
It's just the ball control he has. It's phenomenal. I mean, he controls the ball, literally commands it at times. And I saw that at a very young age. Plus, when he played points with his sisters or even with me when he was a kid, he knew what he was doing on the court. He didn't need much of telling. He knew exactly, he maps the court very well. And even that's one of his strengths even today.
And Yuki, what would be your typical training program, your routine?
The first thing I think that every tennis player one should always think about is that he's always going for for a tournament. That's what I always think, because it's the best way to really prepare or work hard in your practice. Because a lot of times you're not really motivated to come and hit. But my training or my regime is something of I spend about 2-3 hours every morning. Hitting, drilling with other players, and an hour of training in the gym, or sometimes you've got long running or doing exercise outside as well. And I come back in the evening for another hour and a half to play some matches or such practice.
Is there a mental aspect? How do you prepare for a big opponent?
I just let him be. I mean, he's the kind of player who's very well motivated himself.
Mentally strong?
Mentally he's very strong, and like, you just let him be. I mean, you let him know that, okay, this is the event, this is what you work for throughout the year. The moment is there, now it's up to you. You want to grasp it, go out there and do it.
And do you train overseas as well, besides Aditya's academy here? Do you train?
I do spend some time at the Nick Poly Tennis Academy in Florida. Go there every quarterly, every time I have time, or every time playing tournaments in the States, to get adjusted. It's a very good place to train.
Okay. Aditya, what's so special about Nick Polyteri's Tennis Academy? One has been hearing about it for over the years. What's it different? What do they do different to enhance players as opposed to, let's say, what you do or other coaches in India do?
Well, it's just a system which they have kind of mastered over the last 30 years, which we are trying to slowly build towards. And the good thing is, Nick himself has been gone through maybe 10 or 11 #1 players in the world. So that system,
Wow.
that system
Name
really.
some of these top players.
Agassi,
Agassi.
they've been great. They're still doubles guys.
Sharapova and the girls,
Sharapova, Tommy Haas,
Williams
the Williams
sisters.
sisters.
Super. So he's got a great track record, and you feel very
Yeah.
comfortable.
It's and it's a whole lot of players as well. It's a good system, and they're just players from all over the world. I get with a lot of the pros. There's Tommy Haas still. There's Kei Nishikori. You don't get an opportunity like that for a youngster to get to hit with the world #10s, the world #20s.
Sure.
That just makes all the difference from a confidence point of view for the kid when he's hitting with somebody like Kei Nishikori. Where do you get that in our country, where
That's
you
true.
don't have a number 50
That's
in the
true.
world hitting with an upcoming youngster?
Sure. And you probably, as a coach, if you go with Yuki, I assume you travel with Yuki when you go down to Bollettieri, do you bring back a lot of ideas from there which you implement in your program?
Yeah, for sure. It does help us and they're very, very helpful people. They really do help us out over there whenever I'm there. To ask them kind of anything and they're willing to help.
Right. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll listen to what Yuki's family has to say about Yuki.